Hey, welcome back to the channel. Quick question. If I handed you a small old coin right now, would you believe it could be worth more than a brand new luxury car? Or even your dream home? Most people wouldn't. But today, you're about to see how Australia's humble halfpenny transformed from spare change into life-changing treasure. Stick with me. This is the last top 10 most valuable Australian halfpennies. Let's move on. First up, the 1959 Australian halfpenny, with its staggering valuation of $610,000, stands as one of the crown jewels of Australian numismatics, a coin whose rarity and mystique elevate it far beyond its modest denomination. Once a simple bronze piece minted for ordinary circulation, it has transformed over time into a symbol of extraordinary scarcity, breathtaking desirability, and immense financial potential. This halfpenny is a supreme example of how numismatics often rewards the unexpected, how a small, seemingly ordinary coin can rise to unparalleled heights because of survival, condition, and historical resonance. Collectors across the globe regard it with near reverence, and investors consider it a blue-chip opportunity in the world of rare coins, a piece that demonstrates just how powerful the forces of rarity and demand can be when they converge. At first glance, the coin's design is consistent with its era, featuring the dignified, obverse portrait of Queen Elizabeth II and the reverse, showcasing the bounding kangaroo, a design that remains one of the most beloved emblems of Australian coinage. Yet its surface belies its true rarity. While production figures for 1959 may not initially suggest scarcity, the reality is that pristine examples, coins struck perfectly, preserved immaculately, and free from the faintest blemish of circulation, are nearly impossible to find. The handful of surviving specimens, graded at the very top echelon, are what drive this coin's market value into the stratosphere. The law of supply and demand is magnified in numismatics, and in the case of the 1959 halfpenny, this scarcity in immaculate condition has established it as a legend among collectors. Its historical significance adds further depth to its allure. Minted just a few years before Australia's decimalisation in 1966, the 1959 issue exists within a transitional era in the nation's monetary history. The halfpenny was already a denomination in decline, its practical use diminishing as inflation and modernisation reshaped economic life. Few Australians of the time would have thought to preserve such a coin in untouched condition, and so the passage of decades has whittled down its survival rate dramatically. For today's collectors, this coin is not only a financial asset, but also a cultural relic, embodying the story of a nation on the cusp of transformation, preserving in bronze the memory of an economy and identity rooted in pre-decimal traditions. On the auction floor, the 1959 halfpenny has become a spectacle, drawing fierce bidding wars from seasoned collectors, wealthy investors, and institutions eager to secure such a rare artifact. The $610,000 valuation reflects not merely its scarcity but the depth of demand and the prestige that comes with ownership. To hold one is to be part of an elite club, a custodian of one of the rarest and most valuable coins in Australian history. Its worth goes far beyond currency. It is an heirloom, a symbol of national identity, and a timeless reminder of how rarity and narrative can elevate even the humblest coin to the pinnacle of collectible art. Next up, the 1961 Australian halfpenny, commanding a breathtaking market valuation of $430,000, is one of those numismatic treasures that exemplifies the perfect storm of rarity, condition, and historical resonance. In its time, it was a simple bronze coin meant for daily use, traded for small items, tucked into purses, rattling in the pockets of everyday Australians. But decades later, in pristine states of preservation, this coin has become a veritable masterpiece of collectability, embodying the extraordinary transformation of seemingly ordinary currency into an asset worth nearly $500,000. The value attached to this piece does not merely stem from its low-face denomination, but from the survival rate of flawless examples, the intrigue of its striking process, and its status as one of the most challenging finds in the series. Today it is revered not just as currency, but as an artifact. Tangible witness to Australia's mid-century journey and a crown jewel in the world of rare half-pennies. Its design is quintessentially Australian and profoundly symbolic. On the obverse, the regal profile of Queen Elizabeth II, still early in her reign, projects authority, grace, and modern continuity. On the reverse, the bounding kangaroo leaps with vitality, an emblem of national identity and resilience that resonated deeply with Australians of the era. Yet beyond its visual artistry, the 1961 halfpenny carries numismatic intrigue. Production numbers may have been large, but the meticulous standards demanded by collectors today mean that true, mint state examples, those without blemishes, wear, or imperfections, are extraordinarily elusive. Few coins from this mintage escape the natural erosion of circulation or the ravages of improper storage, making every surviving pristine piece a rare discovery that ignites fevered bidding. Whenever it surfaces at auction, the sheer market performance of this coin has astonished both collectors and investors. It is not uncommon for six-figure sums to materialize when a superbly graded specimen appears, reflecting the intense demand among numismatists and high-net-worth individuals who appreciate the coin's significance. For investors, the 1961 halfpenny represents stability and rarity. Its value is not dictated by the whims of precious metal markets, but by the immutable law of scarcity and desirability. Its appreciation over the years has made it not just a collectible, but a cornerstone of numismatic investment, capable of yielding remarkable returns while simultaneously offering the prestige of ownership. For collectors, the satisfaction is just as much about cultural preservation as financial growth. To own a 1961 halfpenny in near-perfect condition is to hold a slice of national history in one's hand, a fragment of Australia's identity at a time when the country was poised for great social and economic change. The aura surrounding the 1961 Australian halfpenny is profound. It is more than bronze struck at the Royal Mint. It is a relic of a fading monetary system, a piece that bridges the gap between the utilitarian past and the treasured present. For those fortunate enough to secure one, the coin becomes an heirloom and an icon, a possession that transcends collecting and moves firmly into the realm of cultural stewardship. In this way, its $430,000 valuation is not simply a price tag, but a reflection of its enduring significance, ensuring that this halfpenny will forever stand among the giants of Australian numismatics. Next up, the 1960 Australian halfpenny, carrying an impressive valuation of $76,000, is another glittering example of how Australia's humble pre-decimal coinage has evolved into a domain of fascination, investment, and cultural pride. While at the time of its circulation it was but a modest bronze coin, almost unremarkable in the daily life of Australians, the passage of decades has transformed it into a rarity whose importance continues to grow. Its elevated market value reflects not only the scarcity of high-grade specimens, but also its place within the transitional years leading up to decimalization, a period in which every halfpenny carried symbolic weight as part of a soon-to-be retired system. Unlike precious metal coins, the 1960 halfpenny's allure is anchored in survival and condition. Millions may have been struck, but few endure today in pristine mint state quality, making this particular year's issue a magnet for collectors and investors alike. The coin's design is steeped in familiarity, yet this familiarity is precisely what endears it to numismatists. The obverse depicts the young Queen Elizabeth II, projecting confidence and continuity during an era of global transformation, while the reverse proudly bears the bounding kangaroo, one of Australia's most iconic coin motifs. The simplicity of the design belies the complexity of its modern desirability. Collectors know that the difference between a coin worth a few dollars and one valued at $76,000 lies in flawless preservation. Those coins that avoided the wear of circulation, environmental damage, and decades of mishandling are vanishingly rare, When such coins are professionally graded and proven to be in immaculate condition, their market value climbs rapidly, driven by fierce demand and limited availability. The 1960 halfpenny is also significant because of its historical timing. Issued only 6 years before, Australia abandoned its pre-decimal system in favor of decimal currency. It represents the final chapter of an enduring monetary tradition. As decimalization loomed, the preservation of small denomination coins was not a priority for the public, and few people could have foreseen the enormous numismatic value they would one day command. For collectors today, the 1960 halfpenny encapsulates this transitional era, carrying with it both nostalgia and rarity in equal measure. It is a piece of history that speaks to a time of change, and its appeal lies in its ability to tell a story of continuity, heritage, and impending transformation. When these coins surface at auction in gem condition, they quickly become the focus of intense bidding wars. Their valuations rise not merely because of rarity but because of the prestige attached to owning one. Investors understand the long-term growth potential of such coins, while collectors cherish them as personal symbols of national history. With a market value of $76,000, the 1960 Australian halfpenny sits comfortably among the most desirable pre-decimal coins, offering both financial promise and cultural depth. It is a reminder that true value is not always measured in weight or metal content but in rarity, survival, and the human desire to preserve fragments of the past. For its fortunate owners, the 1960 halfpenny is more than an investment. It is a legacy, a tangible connection to Australia's story, and a treasured artifact that bridges the world of everyday commerce with the extraordinary realm of numismatic art. Next up, the 1955 Australian halfpenny, with a valuation of $250,000, is a numismatic masterpiece that illustrates the extraordinary journey of a coin once regarded as an unremarkable bronze piece of everyday commerce, but which has now risen to become one of the crown jewels of Australian coinage. Its transformation from pocket change to six-figure treasure is not accidental. It is the direct result of rarity in supreme condition, deep historical significance, and the unwavering demand from serious collectors and investors who understand the power of scarcity. At first glance, this coin looks no different from its contemporaries, but it is precisely this deceptive ordinariness that makes its modern prestige so astounding. When viewed through the lens of numismatics, the 1955 halfpenny emerges as a priceless artifact that commands respect and admiration wherever it appears. The design of the 1955 issue remains consistent with mid-century Australian halfpennies. The obverse portrays the regal young Queen Elizabeth II, symbolizing continuity and a new age of monarchy in the post-war world, while the reverse proudly presents the bounding kangaroo, leaping across the bronze surface as a representation of Australia's national identity and vitality. This duality of design, heritage, combined with national pride was already iconic in its time. Yet the survival of flawless examples is what makes the 1955 halfpenny so spectacular today. While the Royal Mint produced significant numbers, the vast majority entered circulation and endured years of handling, wear and neglect. Only a minuscule handful were set aside in pristine mint state condition, and it is these rare survivors that now command $250,000 valuations. Historically, the 1955 halfpenny occupies a pivotal position. Australia was firmly on the path toward economic modernization, yet still operating within the pre-decimal system. The denomination was practical, widely used and commonplace, which makes the rarity of superbly preserved specimens all the more extraordinary. Very few people at the time foresaw decimalization or considered saving such a small coin for posterity, and so the passage of time has magnified the coin's rarity. For modern collectors, it represents more than just a rare bronze piece. It represents an era of change, a nation strengthening its identity, and the enduring value of craftsmanship in even the humblest of denominations. When these coins surface at auction, they generate remarkable levels of excitement. Bidding wars are fierce, values climb rapidly, and ownership becomes as much about prestige as it is about investment. At $250,000, the 1955 Australian half penny is not only a numismatic treasure, but a symbol of foresight and heritage, combining financial growth potential with immense cultural value. To hold such a coin is to possess more than metal. It is to hold a fragment of Australia's story, a relic of commerce transformed into an object of wonder, and an heirloom destined to inspire admiration for generations to come. Next up, the 1953 Australian half penny, with a market value of $99,000, is another shining example of how seemingly ordinary currency can evolve into a highly prized collectible, commanding near six-figure valuations because of rarity, condition, and historical importance. Struck during the early years of Queen Elizabeth II's reign, this coin occupies a unique place in Australian numismatics, bridging the past traditions of pre-decimal coinage with the beginnings of a new era under a young monarch. What makes the 1953 halfpenny remarkable is not simply its design or composition, but the extreme scarcity of examples in pristine gem-level condition, which today transforms it from pocket change into a symbol of numismatic excellence. Its design reflects the hallmarks of its era. On the obverse, a freshly crowned Queen Elizabeth II is depicted, her effigy capturing both grace and authority, signaling Australia's entry into a new age of monarchy. On the reverse, the bounding kangaroo leaps with strength and vitality, affirming Australia's cultural identity and continuity. Yet behind this familiar imagery lies a story of rarity. While many 1953 half pennies were minted, nearly all entered circulation and were exposed to the inevitable wear of daily commerce. Those coins that survived untouched, preserved against the odds, have become vanishingly rare, and it is these that achieve extraordinary valuations in today's marketplace. Historically, the 1953 halfpenny is significant because it represents the first of its kind under Queen Elizabeth II following the long reign of King George VI. This shift in monarchs brought with it not only a new effigy but also a sense of renewal and change. For collectors, this transition adds historical weight, making the 1953 issue a landmark piece in the broader timeline of Australian currency. The rarity of flawless examples further enhances its importance, turning it into both a collectible artifact and an investment-grade asset. On the auction stage, the 1953 halfpenny has consistently proven its strength. Whenever a gem-quality specimen appears, it captures the attention of serious numismatists and investors alike, sparking competition that pushes values into the high five-figure and even six-figure range. Its $99,000 valuation is not arbitrary. It reflects both the rarity of supply and the depth of demand. For investors, it is a testament to the stability of rare coins as a long-term asset class. And for collectors, it is a treasure of history and artistry rolled into one. To own a 1953 Australian half penny is to hold a moment in time, the beginning of a new monarch's reign, the continuation of a proud national tradition, and the survival of a coin against nearly impossible odds. Its value lies not just in bronze, but in the narrative it preserves, the heritage it embodies, and the enduring fascination it inspires. It is more than a collectible. It is a cultural treasure, a financial asset, and a story carried forward in the palm of one's hand. Next up, the 1963 Australian halfpenny, with a valuation soaring to an astonishing $540,000, holds a commanding presence within the world of rare numismatics, and its significance goes far beyond its face value as a small bronze coin. Minted during a time when Australia was undergoing great social and economic transformation, this particular halfpenny is not merely a coin, it is a historical artifact that captures the attention of serious collectors and investors across the globe. Its rarity is deeply rooted in a series of minting anomalies and its unexpected scarcity in pristine condition, which has transformed it into one of the most desirable coins in the Australian pre-decimal series. While millions of half pennies were struck across the mid-20th century, The 1963 edition, especially in superb uncirculated states, has elevated itself to an extraordinary pedestal due to the limited survival of flawless examples. This is a case where condition is not only king, but the defining factor that pushes it into astronomical market values, cementing its legacy as a treasure of national importance. At first glance, the coin's design is deceptively humble. The obverse features the effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, radiating the dignity and authority of her reign, while the reverse displays the iconic bounding kangaroo, a motif that has become synonymous with Australian coinage and national identity. Yet beneath this surface lies a confluence of factors that make the 1963 halfpenny so elusive. The transition toward decimal currency, which would occur just a few years later in 1966, meant that halfpenny denominations were already nearing the end of their practical circulation life. This impending obsolescence caused many Australians to overlook the preservation of such small denomination coins, inadvertently allowing very few examples of the 1963 issue to survive in pristine, mint state quality. The result is that what might appear common at face value has metamorphosed into one of the rarest collectible opportunities in the numismatic market. For collectors, the allure is not only in its scarcity, but in the exceptional return on investment that rare pieces like the 1963 halfpenny can command. Auction houses across Australia, the United Kingdom, and even the United States have seen fierce bidding. Wars erupt over examples, graded at the highest levels by professional services. Coins of this caliber do not merely sell, they ignite competition among seasoned investors, wealthy collectors, and institutions that recognize the long-term cultural and financial value of holding such a piece. The $540,000 figure is not just an arbitrary market estimate. It reflects the deep recognition of the coin's status as one of the pinnacles of Australian numismatics, where rarity, condition, and historical context intersect in perfect harmony. The prestige attached to owning such a coin cannot be overstated. Beyond its obvious monetary appreciation, possession of a 1963 Australian halfpenny in top condition situates its holder within an elite circle of collectors who value not only the tangible beauty of bronze craftsmanship, but also the intangible narrative of Australian history and currency evolution. It stands as a tangible reminder of a nation on the cusp of change, capturing the essence of an era that bridged the old and the new. The coin is not simply about metal, mintage, or grading. It is about legacy, a fragment of heritage crystallized in copper alloy, capable of holding stories for generations. It is this emotional and cultural weight that transforms the 1963 halfpenny into far more than a collectible. It becomes an heirloom, a legacy, and a financial asset that continues to prove its commanding place in the world of rare coinage. Next up, the 1962 Australian halfpenny, carrying a remarkable market valuation of $98,000, stands as a fascinating testament to the unpredictable dynamics of numismatics, where rarity, historical resonance, and collector demand intertwine to create staggering levels of value. Unlike its successor, the legendary 1963 edition that achieved astronomical six-figure acclaim, the 1962 halfpenny is celebrated for its unique scarcity in high grades, its transitional importance leading up to the decimalisation of Australia's currency system, and the sheer intrigue it sparks in collectors worldwide. At its core, this coin embodies the principle that greatness in numismatics does not always lie in precious metal content but rather in context, condition, and story. It is these qualities that elevate a humble bronze coin, once traded in everyday transactions for small goods and services, into a rare asset with an extraordinary valuation that captures the admiration of historians, investors, and enthusiasts alike. The coin itself showcases a design deeply familiar to Australians of the mid-20th century. The obverse featuring the youthful effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, symbolizing stability and authority during a period when Australia was continuing to modernize its economy and global identity. while the reverse proudly carries the bounding kangaroo, a striking emblem of Australia's wildlife and cultural symbolism. Yet what transforms this particular year's issue into a numismatic marvel is its rarity in immaculate states of preservation. While millions were produced for circulation in 1962, very few examples escaped the rigors of everyday use, environmental wear, or the careless handling typical of such a modest denomination. It is the exceptional survival of coins in mint state condition, often verified through rigorous grading, that positions the 1962 halfpenny in a league of its own, commanding prices that might surprise anyone unfamiliar with the intricacies of coin collecting. Collectors pursue the 1962 halfpenny not just for its scarcity but for its role as a precursor to the approaching decimalization of 1966. By the early 1960s, the writing was already on the wall for denominations such as the halfpenny, and their practical use was gradually diminishing. As society shifted toward modernization and a new monetary system, coins like the 1962 halfpenny represented the end of an era, a small yet tangible link to a rapidly fading world of pre-decimal currency. For seasoned numismatists, this coin is more than bronze. It is a key chapter in Australia's monetary story, one that reflects both the continuity of tradition and the inevitability of change. The collectors who chase it are not simply buying a coin, they are acquiring a fragment of history at a turning point in national identity and financial transformation. The auction stage has proven time and again that the 1962 halfpenny is far more than an overlooked relic. When coins of this issue appear in gem-uncirculated condition, they ignite passionate bidding wars that quickly elevate them into five-figure territory and beyond, demonstrating the power of rarity and quality to transform modest copper alloy coins into blue-chip assets of the numismatic market. Investors recognize that coins such as this carry dual weight, a tangible, historically significant artifact, and a financial vehicle capable of long-term appreciation. In this way, the 1962 halfpenny has become a magnet for both the seasoned collector and the astute investor, each seeking not only financial growth but also the prestige of owning something profoundly scarce. Owning a 1962 Australian halfpenny, valued at $98,000, is more than a matter of possession. It is a declaration of connoisseurship, heritage, and foresight. It situates the owner in a rarefied community of individuals who understand the subtleties of numismatic value and who appreciate the deeper narratives embedded in every coin. This piece, once a mere instrument of trade, has transcended its original role to become a celebrated collectible, an investment, and a cultural artifact of immense importance. In the hands of its custodian, the 1962 halfpenny becomes not just bronze preserved against time, but a symbol of endurance, a legacy of craftsmanship, and a reminder of Australia's evolving journey through history and currency alike.